Hello and welcome back. In my last video, I showed you how to create a dev container in VS Code. This time we're going to build on that and build a dev container using a Dockerfile. Why would you want to use this? Well, what if the container images out there on the Docker Hub or Microsoft or wherever you get your Docker images just isn't set up the way you need it to be? You may need to build a custom image. So let's learn how to do that. Right now, I just had Copilot generate a very basic script that uses some add-on Python modules just to kind of illustrate how we can do this. I've created a requirements.txt file, which is a Python thing that you can install all the modules that your code needs. And I started work on a devcontainer.json file within the devcontainer directory in our project. Really do not have anything set up there yet. I'm just going to grab my example over here. We're going to start writing this out. So JSONs, we need an opening bracket. And let's give it a name. Call it GitHub API container. All right. Now it wants to give us an image here. Some JavaScript image. I'm not sure. Maybe because I put API in there, I thought maybe we're doing something with JavaScript. That's a little weird. We're actually not going to have an image. We are going to do a build in this case. Okay, and this is going to all come together in a moment. The autocorrect here is correct. We're going to go with that. We're going to tell it we're going to do Dockerfile. And 2 dots here. I'm not sure why it is 2 dots because in my other project, my Dockerfile is in the same directory as the JSON file. So I'm not really sure why it's not just 1 dot, but we're going to go with it. Let's see, is there anything else we need to specify? We're going to specify we actually don't need to do this. I don't think we need to do any of this other, our customizations. Always got to have our customizations. This is so we can get our extensions. I don't know if there's a Python one or not. I know there is a Python one. I just don't know what it's called. Let's go over here. If we can figure out what the Microsoft Python module is called. We're just going to go with that. That looks great. Okay. A little weird. All right. That should do. Next, we just need to create our Docker file. So this file, for those of you who have never really used Docker, this file says how to build your container. So we just call it Dockerfile with capital D. And first things first, we're going to say what image we want to build it from. You always have to have some sort of base image. In this case, we are going to use just Debian Slim, Stable Slim, because I like Debian. I know how to use it. You can use something else to, use whatever you prefer. Then we're going to do a run apt-get update and apt-get upgrade -y. I like to do this to make sure I get all the security patches installed, so it's always up to date. A lot of people don't do that, but that's just me. You at minimum want to do that apt-get update so you can at least update your repository so you can install packages. Next, we are going to do a run and do apt-get install Python 3 and Python 3.-pip-y. So the from here, just say what image you're going to build from, what's your base image. The run, each of these runs is a command that you're going to run. So you put your appropriate Linux command after the run, or Windows if you're using a Windows image, I suppose, but I don't recommend doing that. They're kind of big. We may be able to get away with just doing this. Let's see. Let's do a workdir as workspace. And I'll have it start up our bash shell or in it. I'm not sure if VS Code automatically tells the container to do that when it starts it. So we'll just say go ahead and do that if we're going to run it. All right, so here's our Python based image. One thing we also need to do is we need to install our requirements. So we have that requirements text file here, and we can get kind of fancy Copilot here. I did not word that quite right. We'll see if it gets what I wanted to do here. Going to copy the, so this is going to copy the requirements.txt into workspace requirements.txt and then run pip3 install on that requirements.txt file. So it should install each of those modules. Cool. It did an extra thing that I was not going to do. I didn't think I had to do that, but we'll find out. All right. Control Shift. I'm actually going to comment this out and then we can troubleshoot the problem a little bit here. All right. Save that. Now let's open our command palette with Control Shift P. And let's reopen in the container and see what happens. Wait, did I not hit the right thing? Reopen a container. Where would you like to add configuration? What? Oh, because I named my JSON file incorrectly. Hold on. The JSON file should not start with a period. Okay. Control Shift P. Reopen a container. I save the change you made to GitHub.py. Sure. So right now we can open this log, see what it's doing. It's installing the updates to the image, and it should soon be installing the packages we requested. Oh, yep, looks like installing Python right now. And this will also be one of those things that the first time you run it, it's going to take longer. All right, we had an issue. What happened? Command failed. Failed to build. Pip3 install. Gesture. We probably will need to back, close our remote connection. Reopen folder locally. Okay. So let's go back and do the thing that Copilot told me to do anyway. Yeah. You do not have to have Copilot to do this. I just did it to make it a little easier, so I didn't have to go look up the command. It's not a command. This pip3 install is not a command I run all the time, but I couldn't remember what the flag was to specify the file. I could have just Googled it, but I didn't want to waste your time with that. All right, let's save that and let's reopen a container again. Go ahead and show the log in this case, just because it takes a little bit. We have to run our code in a virtual environment. So, I'm not a pro when it comes to this sort of thing, this part of it. It looks like we have some solutions here. So, turns back into a thing where we're getting things set up, start off with. So it'll work every other time that we want to make it work. Let's see. Apparently you cannot install modules through pip on the system level Python install. They want you to do everything through apt, but we get around it. We can create a virtual environment. So do a Python 3-mvnv env. Okay, back to the Dockerfile. There's a Thanks VS Code for trying to be helpful. Okay. This is always the fun part when you're trying to get your image built. You know, that takes the longest amount of time because there's always little gotchas you don't think about. But once you got one built, and if you're always writing the same code or in the same language, you know, you don't have to make big changes to it to make it work for you. And you might even just be able to use the same image over and over again too. So, and if you're going to have an image that, you know, doesn't really have any proprietary data on it or anything where you need to worry about other people having access to, you could always put on Docker Hub and always pull it down from there. You don't have to rebuild it every time. Or rebuild every time you need to set up a new environment. I think we are in. We are in like the kill the terminal. Let's go to terminal. And we have our program here. So all this does is it hits the GitHub repository. So we'll show this real quick. This hits the GitHub API for this project, the CPython project, and just returns the name of it, the number of stars, number of forks, and the open issues. Really simple program that uses requests and pandas. No, nothing too complicated, but it illustrates the point that you can run dev containers with a custom Docker file, so you can set up an image the exact way that you need it for your development. Thanks for watching. I will catch you next time.